Welcome back to Play the Game Central, and today we have a new trailer to break down. We're going to skip the multiplayer stuff because we're not interested in that and go straight to the zombie stuff. Now I have also sharpened up some of these images and altered them a little bit in order to make it a little bit easier to see what's going on, as I still make these trailers in 720p, so you do lose a lot of quality. So let's begin. In the first shot here we see the street, and at the end of the street we see the haunted house, and on the right here, something people are probably going to be making a big fuss about is you can see the words bank hanging down and written on the boards up there. Now I don't personally know if the bank is actually coming back. However, if it did come back, I imagine it would be its own separate thing, as it would be, because it would be game breaking if they brought the transit bank into a buried, you go in for the first time and you immediately have like 100,000 points. That would be completely awful. They might bring the bank back, but it would be its own separate bank and probably separate from transit. Well, that's how I imagine it would be if they linked them up. That would be terrible. We can also see a box spawn in this first image, but it's a bit different because it looks like a normal box but with a teddy bear sitting on top of it. Normally you have the little stack of black boxes with the teddy bear on top instead of the normal wooden box, but it looks like the normal box with the teddy on top, which is a bit strange. Now moving on, we get a shot of the haunted house. We can see a ghost in the window of the haunted house. It's a ghost of a woman. You can also see the outline of a gun, but I can't tell you what that is because I can't see it properly. We can also see some trees, and the building also looks a bit broken. Some of it's kind of been just smashed out of the way by the rocks. You need to keep in mind that this town is not where it's supposed to be. It's actually in the Horn of Africa. But you can at least see from some of these shots it's not where it's supposed to be. A bit of the building have been smashed out of the way by the rocks. There are trees. Trees don't tend to grow underground very well, and as a result they look quite dead. And also later on you see like broken pipes out the rocks and stuff that really doesn't make sense. So let's move on to the next shot. Now we get a closer look at the ghost. Now she's actually in a completely different window now. That is most likely just editing gone a bit wrong. Or that window just looks better than all the other windows. But she's in a different window for some reason. And ghosts seem to do whatever they want. So anyway, moving on to the next shot, we see a zombie climbing out of the ground. Yes, we know he has the blue eyes. But what's more important in this shot and in the next couple of shots is, if you look in the top right very carefully, you can see a green glow. Now you may think, oh, this could just be a power-up, but it's most likely speed cola. The perks have like a glow. If you put them up against a thin wall, you can tend to see the glow from the other side of the wall. The reason why I think it's speed cola is because it's in a few different shots, which means it's unlikely to be a power drop because it wouldn't still be in the exact same spot in a completely different shot. So here we go, another shot of the green glow in a completely separate shot here, meaning it's unlikely to be a power drop. We can also get another view of the box with the teddy bear on top of it. Then moving back to the haunted house, we see the ghost is no longer in the window and is actually coming after the players. And as you can see, she is just floating towards Russman. He then kills her with the upgraded Galil quite easily. Then moving on to the next shot, we have zombies coming into like a tight alleyway. You can see in the background what looks to be some outlines of a gun, but it looks like there's a couple of them right next to each other, so it could just be some kind of decoration. I'm not too sure myself. It then cuts to our four characters moving down this alleyway. You can see Misty is using the new ray gun, and other weapons in this scene include the M1911, the M14 and the Olympia. But more importantly, we can see Jug in the background, and what looks to be a very unstable balcony with loads of barrels and stuff on top, which looks like it's about to fall at any minute, which is could be an interesting way of blocking off the perk for a while, and you maybe have to rebuy access to it, or you have to wait till the giant maybe clears it out of the way, or something like that. Who knows, we'll just have to wait and see. You then see the characters back in a bit further down this alleyway, and then it cuts to a shot of the new ray gun. Again, there's not much interesting in this shot, but we are back in the church. To our left, I think, is our new perk. There's not much interesting in this shot other than the ray gun, but we've already seen what that looks like. Now this one is quite difficult to see because of the depth of field blur and the fact that it's only in 720, but there is a workbench there, and there's definitely something on the workbench. However, I can't quite see or make out what it is. It doesn't look like a shield though. And could this possibly be the new wonder weapon? We'll just have to wait and find out. I know the zombie team likes to make their wonder weapons buildables. And now moving on to a shot of the prison, and the character, I think Boop calls him Simple Jack. Let's see if that sticks. But he's much larger than when we first saw him, and he appears to grow when you feed him. And you can also see Samuel in the background using the new ray gun, and there's a bunch of bottles and plates and stuff just on the box there. Not much interesting. Then we cut to a shot of Misty with the M14. We see some pictures in the background, but again the depth of field blurs most of the stuff out. This looks like some kind of courthouse or something. There's lots of books and paper on the floor. Then back to the giant guy again, and now we see the sweet shop in the background, the one that we saw from the original trailer. If you look carefully, you can actually see that he has some tattoos on his hands. Now I can't quite make out what it is myself right now, but I'm sure it's not that important. We then see the giant guy eating some sweets, which most likely makes him even bigger. In the next shot he's even bigger, and he's like kicking zombies out of the way and stepping on them and all kinds of stuff. And here's another shot of the giant guy again, but what's important in this one is that you can see Samuel using the SVD AS, so that's another weapon that we know is coming back. Then we just about wrap up the trailer here with a zombie jumping down from one of the higher levels of a building, and you can see some of those pipelines that are broken in the background there. And that is it for all the zombie footage in this trailer. It wasn't very much, but at least it was something. So if you'd like to find out more about this map and the future DLC, I suggest you go check out the Play the Game forum. We've had lots of information about this map and the next map on there for a long time. For instance, the map name and some information has been there since day one of Alcatraz for this map. So you just have to go on there, do a bit of looking, and if you know what you're looking for, you can find lots and lots of cool information. So if you'd like to know some more information, I suggest you go and check out the Play the Game forums. There's lots of cool stuff there. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.